Chapter 15, Part E, by disguising a mortgage as a transfer. Sometimes a mortgage agreement is drawn up to look like it is transferring the estate. So highlight transferring the estate in fee simple. So we do that one to get away from the doctrine of equity of redemption. So highlight get away, highlight equity of redemption. But they make it look like they were transferring the interest in fee simple. Fee simple means no qualification to inherit the property. The court can see that the document's main purpose was to offer, so highlight was to offer land as a security for a loan. Highlight security for a loan. The court will find this arrangement to be a mortgage. So the court will consider like this one as a mortgage and will recognize the equity of redemption and highlight recognize the equity of redemption. This usually involves a family member or a friend. So highlight a family member or a friend, and you want to avoid the formalities of a mortgage. Highlight the formalities of a mortgage. Sometimes we want to transfer our property to our children or to family members, just don't want to have a kind of a mortgage. So basically we disguise. Okay, so the keywords to remember is to, basically it involves family member, friend, right, to get away from the doctrine of equity of a redemption. That's the key. And the next is implied terms of a mortgage. Prohibition against clogging. So highlight prohibition against and highlight the keyword clogging. There shall be no clog, no stoppage on the equity of redemption. This means that no person shall be prevented, highlight prevented, from redeeming means cashing, his property free from condition contained in the mortgage. Basically means, if being a buyer, if I buy a property, if I have $100,000 equity in my property, I will not be stopped by bank to cash in my equity anytime. That means stipulation for collateral advantage. So collateral means additional security. It is common for mortgage to contain terms giving the lender advantage in addition to the security and interest payments. I will give you a mortgage, but you must buy your goods from me. Right? So basically, where the lender put some conditions. Today the law says a collateral advantage which extends past the term of the mortgage will not be a clog and can be enforced unless it is viewed as a penalty or as being unfair and unconscionable. The present law seems to be that the lender can require a product agreement as part of the mortgage agreement if it is reasonable between parties. If the terms are unduly restrictive, this may be void as being unreasonable restraints of trade. So highlight reasonable, highlight unduly restrictive, and highlight void. So basically means, so the bank cannot stop you cashing your equity, right? If the bank's restrictions are not reasonable, unduly and restrictive, then it's void. And the next is express terms of the mortgage. Lender is called mortgagee, mean banker, right? Borrower is called mortgager. So highlight mortgagee and highlight mortgager. Repayment clauses. The monthly payment is calculated based on the amortization period and the full amount outstanding is shown as due and payable. So highlight outstanding, due and payable on a fixed date. This usually includes a term, maybe 1 year, 2 years, 5 years. Next is acceleration of default. The principal interest will become due and payable at the option of the lender. So highlight at the option of the lender. If the borrower default, highlight defaults or commit ways to cause the value of the land to diminish. For example, if the borrower doesn't take care of the property, right? Doesn't manage the property. So there are means. So they have the option to, for example, the borrower is not paying the payments, right? And also not managing the property. So basically what? but they can say, okay, now we no longer want the payment, we want the full payment. Next is omnibus clause. So highlight this clause gives the lender the option to pay any money that borrower defaults on, adding these charges to the principal amount. For example, Joe is the lender of the second mortgage and discovers John has not paid his property tax and 2 mortgage payments. To secure his interest, Joe may pay these and add this on to what John owes. Do you understand? So option to pay any money and add on the second mortgage, add on the mortgage, right? For example, I lost my job, I don't have money to pay the property taxes, right? So the bank can give me, for example, if I have mortgage for $100,000, right? I have $100,000 sitting in my property. So bank say, okay, I'll give you $10,000 more. Now your mortgage is 110. Pay your taxes, take your few month payments, right? So that means omnibus. So option to pay any money. And the next one is insurance. The mortgage borrower owner will insure building and the replacement value. So basically, the borrower has to have the mortgage insurance, right? If something goes wrong with the house, so what happens? First the banks get paid and then the borrower gets paid. Repairs. The mortgagor will keep the land and the building in good condition, highlight good condition, and repair, and not abandon or commit waste. So he can't just leave the house. Next is lender remedies, mean lender's solutions. Lender has complete discretion, highlight discretion, in deciding the most suitable remedy. So the most suitable solution if the borrower defaults. So lender can let you go away for 2 payments, right? If they find you, if you are already paying for last 20 years, somehow something goes wrong, so next couple of months they can accommodate, right? It's up to them. Guarantor. This is a clause used to create a separate personal covenant, has a separate personal condition of a third party in addition to the borrower's personal covenant. To pay, it gives the lender extra security, called extra security. For example, you don't qualify for mortgage, so then you can utilize your dad who has a good credit history for a guarantor. Portability. This clause allows the borrower to take the present mortgage with him, so I had to take the present mortgage with him to his new home that he is purchasing. That means portable. So next is special types of mortgages. Interim blanket mortgage. Interim blanket mortgage. Commonly used in condominium developments. So I have commonly used in condominium development. In order initially to raise money. So I have to raise money. For the project, a mortgage is placed on the whole development. The developer will want to release this mortgage from the individual strata lot or subdivision as they are purchased. So I'll add as they are purchased. The blanket mortgage will contain a clause to do so, but keeps the security over the rest of the project. So I'll keep the security. For example, so the ultra high rise, right? So the developer got the interim blanket mortgage, right, on the whole building. Now he's selling the units, right, and as well as he's releasing that mortgage, okay. And that's it for that.